Hi, Haley from BJB here. I'm with Fernando, aka Fett. We're going to be going over how he uses BJB materials with his costuming and do a couple demos with TC266 foam, 1630, and Armour Bond urethane adhesive. Now, Fernando, I just wanted to know a little bit about your background. How did you get into costuming?
I think it really started with Halloween. I got obsessed with Freddy Krueger. I couldn't find a nice Freddy Krueger mask. My mom did the makeup on me. I kind of loved it, but I was like, oh man, like it could be a little better. So Freddy Krueger was the thing that I think got me the most into costuming. It's a costume I go back to try to like get like as close to perfect as possible. So doing that year after year, it just kind of made me think about it through the year, not just during Halloween. And that's really how I got into it. Like from there, it wasn't just Freddy Krueger, it was like Star Wars, it was everything that I saw in the movies that I wanted to be. I came to the realization that maybe I could like do it myself when I couldn't find the right stuff out there.
Awesome. So how long roughly have you been doing this?
Oh my gosh, I mean, since I was a kid, but really, the whole thing with Fett started with the 501st group, which is a huge Star Wars group, and I lived in Arizona, and there was a garrison there, which was just a group of builders, and when I came in, they didn't have a Boba Fett, and it turned out that was like the character that I wanted to do. So working with them, learning from them, just doing every piece. There's so much stuff going on in that costume that just, you know, getting into it allowed me to understand all the different tricks and materials that are involved in making a costume, getting to that finished look. Almost 20 years now.
Awesome.
That's when I got more serious about it. Cool. The first really big convention that I went to was Celebration 2 in Indianapolis with my Boba Fett costume. Got approved to be officially in the 501st, so I was really proud about that. And it was so much fun that I was just like, I mean, screw Halloween, I need to do this year round. So really I've always had, you know, a regular job and stuff, but I've always tried to just kind of keep, you know, making things and building things, and you know, as you mess up more and more, you learn more and more. And
trial by error.
Exactly. Awesome. So I self-taught for the most part, but I'm lucky to know a lot of like really good artists, and I've been learning from them over the years. So I just try to surround myself with talented people and just kind of really understand, you know, the process of making something. And so it's been about like 18, 19 years.
That's awesome.
Getting serious about it.
So now, during that 18, 19 years, you've not been using BJB the whole time?
No, not the whole time.
So what's been your experience with like previous materials compared to BJB? Yeah,
it's been, you know, it's one of those things where if you don't really understand the whole scope of what you're trying to achieve, and you're kind of self-taught and you're kind of messing up, sometimes you don't use the right material or the right process. Like for example, painting something, you know, like you want to, they say that really prepping is 90% of the painting work that you're going to do. Is just getting that prep correctly. So learned a lot by messing up, obviously, in painting, and most recently, my passion project has been, for a number of years, Spider-Man has been one of my favorite characters. And since I got the book, The Making of, and saw that there was a muscle suit underneath, I was like, that's why they look, you know, so superhero-y. So for the better part of 15 years, I think I've been trying to make that perfect muscle suit that pairs with the costume. The movie came out in 2002, so you know, that's when I got the book, and then by like 2004, 2005, I was already kind of messing with foam and things like that. Starting with just upholstery foam, and carving foam,
that must have been
latexing foam. So you would read on the book, it's foam latex, but I didn't really understand foam latex. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna go to Joann's, I'm gonna get foam, carve it, and throw Halloween latex on top of it, right? That's how they made it, right?
Makes sense.
So over the years, I've come to find out, you know, oh, you need an oven, you need all this to make a foam latex appliance. And then I was like, I don't have an oven. I'm not a good, you know, you need experience to be a foam runner. So then I found a product that was what they called cold foam, or, you know, like foam that you don't really need to bake for it to expand. So the first couple of products that I used, they worked, but I was having so many bad pools because of either the temperature was wrong or the mix ratio was wrong. Or maybe the way that I would take too long because it's such a quick expanding thing when it's a soft foam, that I found it to be really frustrating that I would waste almost all my material trying to get a couple good pools. And, you know, you're wasting money as well, you're wasting your time. And that I thought was just kind of like the nature of the beast, right? Yeah. It's like, oh man, you know, this foam product, when it works, you know, it works, but, you know, to get one good one, I need to make like 4 or 5, you know, bad ones.
And that's just not the way it should be.
It's not the way it should be. So when I found your guys' TC266, that's been kind of my go-to ever since, because I don't need to worry as much about, you know, like the temperature and everything. As long as it's not super warm, I know it's not gonna kick super fast. And here in California, we have kind of like, you know, a nice weather all year. You know, it cools in the morning and afternoons, nights. So if I do it at that time, it gives me a little bit more working time. And I've just had like consistent results ever since I've tried your product. So that's what I've been sticking to, and that's what I used, you know, on this guy here. And it's just, you know, such a great experience to kind of like get that breakthrough and realize, oh man, it wasn't, you know, just that the material was not going to work for what I needed. It was just, you know, I needed to kind of find the chemistry,
a more consistent material,
a more consistent material that was really going to give me the results that I was looking for, that mimic that foam latex feel.
Well, I'm sure glad you found us.
Oh, I am glad I found you guys too.
We have our 1630 mold, and I guess you're going to show us how you cast foam into it?
Yes, so we have our mold here. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna give it a good wax. I got my liquid wax right here and a chip brush. So I do both surfaces, obviously, and the edges.
How many layers of wax do you typically do?
I try to do like 2 or 3.
Okay.
Since this already has a little bit of wax, I'm gonna kind of play it by ear, just make sure that there's an even surface of wax at least through the entire thing, that there's no like crunchy wax left over or anything like that. The universal spray, I just found it to be, you know, as I was like having a lot of trial and error, I was like, I'm not gonna use anything universal. I'm just gonna use the friendliest thing for urethane foam. So I found that to be wax. Okay. And then I tried some generic kind of like wax coating that you can find at like the Lowe's or Home Depot, and just kind of like having, you know, going with that and doing a few coats of that. And that was working all right, but then I found the liquid wax to be just kind of easier to apply with the chip brush, get it everywhere, all the nooks and crannies. And so far it's been working for me.
Good.
And then what I like to do is just, I wait just a little bit, make sure that there's not...
it flashes off.
Yeah, any pooling of like liquid anywhere. But it doesn't look like it, so should be pretty good.
How long do you typically wait after putting the wax on before you cast your foam?
Usually about, you know, 5 to 10 minutes is pretty good. I usually don't have to think about it too much, because by the time I'm doing my mix and come back to the piece,
then it's good.
Yeah, everything is nice and dry at that point. So I think we're good to go here.
Great.
So the next part is the mix. So even though this product is pretty friendly, I still try to get the mix as close as possible, the ratio.
Well, the nice thing with our foams too is you can kind of play with the ratio and dial it into the exact feel that you want. But now that you've cast so many of these pieces, you know exactly the feel that you want. So
yeah, I usually, if I'm gonna be over, I prefer to be over on my the B side than my activator side, because I found that if I'm over on the activator side, it'll give me, a hard portion here or there of the piece. And it might be fine for certain uses, but for me, where I'm trying to get like softness throughout the entire thing, have the person be able to move and flex, it just has to be a soft piece. All right, so we're ready to go. Got my clamps in place. The way I'm going to be pouring, just like pour like this, is I try to hit all the edges, like I pour it as if I'm kind of outlining my piece, and then everything will just kind of start pulling into the middle. Okay. But by that time, I'm already closing everything down. So I'm trying not to like rush, but also I'm not taking my sweet time, like just kind of waiting around.
That makes sense.
So we're gonna go ahead and mix now. You have about 30 seconds to kind of get everything there, close it up, or at least that's the time that I give myself to make sure that I have a good soft piece. Let's just give it a good stir. And then I start just kind of making an outline. Instead of slushing and rolling, I just try to do this instead.
That makes sense, okay.
And that way I just get everything. And then as it starts pulling in the middle, that's when I want to close it up, clamp it, and then not touch it again. So what I do is I clamp it, and that's it. I don't go like, I don't do like that stuff. When you're trying to get a piece that's gonna be perfect, I've found it, I don't know if it's me being superstitious or what, but I've tried it all sorts of ways, and I never got a good result when I'm like trying to like, oh, I'm still gonna do all this, after I poured.
Better just
pour, clamp. With this, it's such a good foam that I know as it rises, it's just gonna get everything where I poured, and then that middle pulling area is gonna be the thickest area, and it's just gonna be like a nice consistent.
I hear it, it's working.
Yeah, get that boom mic close to this. Yeah, it's that nice like cereal sound, like your Rice Krispies.
Exactly.
Breakfast.
All right, well, we're gonna let this sit for about 30 minutes and then we'll come back and pull the piece out. All right, so it's been about 30 minutes and we're gonna pull this 266 piece out and see how it came.
Yeah, let's take a look. So I try to go slowly just so that I don't rip out any edges or anything like that.
Looks pretty good so far.
Came out like butter. All right. And yeah, I always try to like work my fingers into the edges so that I'm not ripping anything. But if you waxed enough, then it should just come out very, very easily. It looks like a full piece. No collapsing.
Oh, that looks great.
Yeah. Nice and soft, just very little excess that's trimmed off. And then this piece is good to go.
Now this is a back piece, correct?
This is gonna go on the back of this guy. Your piece that goes here, it has a little bit of the lats Once it's like tinted red and everything, you know, we can tint right on the mold, but this is, you know, just for the demo.
Yeah.
You get that nice red finish, and there it is.
That looks great.
Nice and squishy.
All right, now Fernando, let's talk about this urethane suit.
Yes, well, this is obviously Batman, right? Most of you guys will recognize the Dark Knight armor. In the film, what Fox made for him was a very segmented armor so that he could move around. And it turns into kind of like a puzzle. If you're trying to glue everything down, you need to kind of know where every piece goes. And the product that I found to be perfect for this type of project was Armour Bond. The reason why I wanted to use Armour Bond was that I needed something that keeps the flex on the suit so that it's not stiffening up the costume. And it's obviously all made of rubber, so you want something that really gives you a good bond with urethane rubber.
Yeah.
So that's been working great so far. I have one leg down here, and we can actually demo some of the pieces on the right leg here.
Sounds good.
And I can just show you guys some tricks.
Now, did you make this urethane costume?
Oh, no. This guy was made by Jamie Arnold from Iconic Effects.
Oh, we know Jamie.
Friend of yours made that cowl over there. He does really great work. He's a huge Batman fanatic. And he made this kit a few years back. So the guy that bought it was a little overwhelmed with the amount of pieces that you get in a kit. And he either felt like he didn't want to do it himself, or he didn't have the right materials for it. For whatever reason, he hit me up. I love projects like these. You know, I get to play around with somebody else's, you know, costume and get to see it myself, and you know, maybe try it on. I'm kidding. I don't try it on. So yeah, so he sent it to me. I made the undersuit for him, you know, because that was another thing.
This is very interesting material.
He needed the undersuit, so we made the undersuit. And then it was just a matter of really finding the right adhesive to make the pieces stay and make sure that they have a good stress resistance and flex to the adhesive. So yeah, Armour Bond was something that, you know, I was curious about. I wanted to give it a try, and it's been working perfectly.
That's great to hear. Now that you've been using Armour Bond for a little while, do you have any tips or tricks on how to do that with costuming?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna show you guys as we demo the things that I do to make sure that I get a good bond at the first try. And also with something like this, where maybe it's a lot of pieces, you kind of have to do it within the time it'll say right on the tube, you know, the work time. With this guy, I'm using the flex and semi-flex. So it gives you between, you know, 3 to 5 minutes to get everything kind of into a good bond state. So if I'm working vertically, I pin the pieces down with needles, just to kind of have a game plan and just go as fast as I can with the dispenser tool. Or if I need to go back and do just little edges and things like that, I pour in a cup and just kind of stir it with a stick and go in.
That's good advice. Now we're going to kind of go into how you use the Armour Bond with the urethane armor pieces.
Yep. We're going to be gluing down one of the armor pieces in place here.
Okay.
And I'm just going to show you the steps I do before I get that right on there.
All right. Sounds great. All right. Now, how do you typically set something up before you get ready to glue?
So I'm using a hot toy as my guide. That hot toy is, you know, that Chinese collectible from the Dark Knight that has all the armor there. And it just gives me a good idea of the separation of every piece, the space that's in between, how far it goes down or up, you know, in relation to the person wearing it. This mannequin, I bought it just specifically because it's the same height as the actor or performer that's going to be wearing this. So since I already have the left leg done, I'm just going to try to find the right place, make it you know, symmetrical on the right. So this is a piece that goes right next to this cod piece, which, fun fact, like this is actually just kind of Velcroed so that you can go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
There's a fly there.
Nice.
Okay, so I know where it should go. And first thing I'm gonna do is spray a little bit of alcohol, 50% alcohol mixed with water. And that's just to clean the urethane. Make sure that
get all the mold release off.
Yeah, that I don't have any contaminants as I'm trying to use my adhesive. So you just want to make sure anytime you're gluing anything, even if it's not a project such as this, or when you're painting, I find it a good rule of thumb to just kind of clean it with a little bit of this like mix. Just 50% alcohol, 50% water, and that usually gives me better results. I do that before I prime something to paint. Just anything that you're taking out of the mold, you don't want to just like go straight into gluing or painting. So this should be pretty good.
Okay.
So now we're going to be gluing this in place. And then we were talking about pinning. I use these little guys just to kind of make sure if there's any edges kind of sticking up as I'm gluing down, like for example, if right here, like that might be standing up. So I'll try to just kind of pin that down.
Okay.
So when it comes to that point, we'll see how that's doing. So we're gonna use Semi-Flex, has 2 to 2.5 minute work time. So this is pretty quick. So we're going to be putting this in our dispenser tool. I really like what you guys did here. I haven't used this on any other tube yet, but I found it really cool that you have like different adapter sizes for different tubes. Neat. Yeah, so that's in the shot. So then basically get that in there. I'm gonna remove this little cap. And then we have our little applicator tips. I do recommend getting a bunch of these, especially with a project like this where you're going to maybe have to take a little bit of time in between when you're working. But these are really nice because they'll pre-mix the product before it hits the tip. So it already comes like mixed pretty well. So we're gonna dispense just a little bit to get any goo that might not be like fully mixed out of there first. Sometimes when you get adhesives, you'll notice like when you crack open a tube, there's a little bit of like liquidy stuff at the top. So you wanna get rid of that. And now we're going to dispense right onto the piece. So I'm gonna try to get all the edges here. Doesn't need to be like super close to the edge because then it's gonna squish down and you don't want a lot oozing outward. But just to make sure that I have in every edge. And then I just kind of
little zigzag pattern.
Go with a little zigzaggy. So from here, you can either get a popsicle stick and just kind of get everything everywhere. But I think with this, I'm going to just kind of squish it down. Yeah, and I'm sorry if I get in this shot, I just want to make sure that I get this.
Looks good.
Yep. So yeah, so this little corner is sticking up a little bit. So I'm gonna use one of my little pins to just bring it down. Just so that it's touching. That's the challenge when you're doing this on a mannequin or on a person. I mean, you obviously don't want to glue right directly on a person, but like if a person is going to wear this, all these pieces have to kind of curve
Yes.
to the person. So they're kind of molded and casted flat, but then they need to contour. So that's why we pin.
And you're able to just go right into the urethane, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty soft. So I
Yeah.
just kind of stick to the edges here.
All right.
That way I don't have a, huge hole there. So it looks like we're pretty good on these like top parts.
Yeah, it's really just the curves down there.
Yeah, it was just like kind of these edges finding each other for lift. All right, so in about 3 minutes, that's gonna be like bonded there, and then you just have like another 150 pieces to go or something like that. No, it's probably not that many, but it does feel like that when you're doing the whole thing.
It is a lot of pieces though.
Yeah,
it's like a jigsaw puzzle.
It
huh?
is a lot of pieces for sure.
It looks cool though. Well, thanks so much, Fett, for stopping by. It was really nice to see how you use BJB materials with all of your costuming, and thanks for sharing all of your tips and tricks. And it was really cool to see how BJB has helped you in your progression of your business. And I can't wait to see what you have going on in the future.
Definitely. Thank you guys so much for inviting me. I had a lot of fun, and I do have more stuff in the works. So if you'll have me, I'm happy to come down.
I would love to. That sounds great.
Awesome.
See you
Thank
soon.
you.
Yeah.